My name is Christopher Michael, and I created Crit, and this is Catch the Craze.
What's up, crazies? Kickstarter fans, indie comic fans, I got something for you. I have indie creators in the blue room. They're ready to talk to you about their Kickstarters. They either launched it or gonna launch. So if you really love indie comics and you want to support the little guy and see them win, well, here's an opportunity to prove it. Put your money where your mouth is. Check this out. I'm done talking. Now it's time for the indies. Let's start it up. Start it up, y'all. Start it up, y'all. Start it up, y'all. What's up, Georgie? What do we got on the show today?
What up, Sammy? So today on the show, we have Mr. Christopher Michael, who is on Indiegogo with a project called Crit. So check that out.
Yes, I never liked grits in my life. Let's get it! So, speaking of grits, even though it's crit, but grits. True story. When I was in elementary school, it was like 5th grade. On my way to school, I go and pick up my friend Niles. And Niles' mom always had me come in to have breakfast.
Okay.
And she would always have a bowl of grits with bacon on the side, right? And she would put this big chunk of butter right in the center of the of the bowl of grits. I never dug the taste. And I hated grits. I loved the bacon because it would get rid of that nasty taste in my mouth of the grits. So I stopped picking Niles up because I didn't want to have to eat grits.
Yeah, I've never had grits in my life, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm missing out on something, but apparently, according to you, I'm not. So.
All you grit lovers, I don't know if it could have just been the way they were making it. I don't know, but I never tried it again. I stayed away from the grit. But speaking of grit, we're going to go back and flip it. We're back into Crit. So we have a guest on today. His name is Christopher Michael.
Christopher Michael's got an Indiegogo project that launched on the 24th of February. But welcome, everybody, to another episode of Catch the Craze. We do have Christopher Michael, but first, let's take care of some business. Let's let you guys know that you can subscribe to the channel. You can like it. You can comment. Make sure you tell your friends. We want to make sure this thing grows to the point where, we're like huge on YouTube.
Huge.
So, so check that out. Definitely like. And also, don't forget that on Indiegogo, we have our very own project by Mr. Samuel Vera, Forbidden. So make sure you get on that Indiegogo and search Forbidden Comic. Pledge to it. We're almost there. We're almost at the funding goal. So make sure that you get that done.
Yes,
and
get down on it.
Right after this show, we're going to go live with Mr. Anibal Arroyo and Sam Vera, and we're going to be talking about Forbidden, some behind-the-scenes stuff that you've never heard, never seen before. We're really going to get into it. I'm going to drill these guys with questions about the project, so you guys are going to have some fun. A lot of interaction with the people. We're going to have some Q&As, so it'll be fun. But that's coming up after this. As far as this show goes along now, Sammy, Crit. It's funny when you send me that list of guests. You did write Grit, Grit.
Did I?
On it. Yeah. So I'm going crazy looking for grits. On Indiegogo, I can't find it.
No more bread and butter. No more crackers and jam. Yeah, it's just when I saw it, Crit, it took me back to because it was like I think it took me the first time I had it. I said it's an anomaly. I don't like it. It's a one-time deal. She was being nice. I'm good. Next day, come on in. Grit. I'm like. I think I gotta eat this again. So I'm like, So then the next day, now I'm getting angry, right? Because now it's like torture. I'm being forced to eat something I don't want to eat, and I'm like, but I can't. I'm respectful. I can't say no. I was a kid. There's no way I'm gonna disrespect my elders, and I was like, I had to. I debated in my head what to do, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not picking them up anymore. And I remember I got caught out one day. It was probably a couple of weeks later. because we went to go get Niles to go play, and his mom's like, "How come you don't come over in the mornings anymore?" And I was like,
Stop feeding me them grits.
I
Stop
know.
giving them
I was
grits.
like, and I don't remember what I told her, but I just know that it was just like, it was just horrible.
Oh man.
But anyway, speaking of Forbidden,
Yes.
the sketchbook, volume 1 is done for Forbidden. Remastered, a lot of great content, a lot of great narrations behind the thought process. This features art by everyone who was involved in the project. So it's pretty cool. I'm really happy with the sketchbook. So those of you who are going to get the sketchbook, you're going to dig it. And now I'm also, because we're $44 away from our goal. $44. So I'm already commissioning a colorist to start coloring the book. So by the time the campaign ends, I'm hoping to have it colored at the end of the campaign, so I could just send it off to the printer. So thank you for the 11 backers. I have 11. It's tough. It's tough. But thank you for backing us. So we have some really cool. We have some great incentives, some great rewards and perks. And I also want to say thank you to Daphne Lage, John Coates, Sebastian Bonet for submitting some cool sketches and pinups of the characters from Forbidden. As you know, and if you don't know, submissions will be featured in the book in Forbidden. So show us your best rendition of Forbidden, and your name and the image will be featured in the book. So I know of 2 more that are going to be submitting. So anybody else out there, you want to get down with the get down, you have from now to at least, I said the 15th, I'm going to give it to the 22nd, because the campaign ends on the 27th. It gives me time to put all the pages together, manipulate it, create the images and all that other stuff. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. That's great, man. Yeah, Forbidden. I mean, $44 away from the goal, and hopefully we'll exceed the goal, get into some of those cool, stretch goals that you have planned for it. And right now, if you pledge $25 or more, you're gonna get that cool pinup of the king, right? It's got the king on it,
and you won't even be able to get that pinup on the campaign.
Right,
so I'm throwing this in as a bonus. That's not a perk. You can't buy it, because this was actually the jacket for the graphic novel, for the collected edition of Forbidden. So I had an artist commissioned to do the front and back cover for the book. And so I'm actually debuting it and giving you guys at 25 or more an opportunity to own the pinup, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. That's cool. And at $25, that's a steal. So
yes, Remington
definitely make sure that you get on that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that on the show that's coming on after this. So you guys are definitely going to get a lot more information about the book. And obviously, we want to get this thing funded, but we also want to get it colored. We want to get not just issue 0, but the rest of the book colored. So that's why if we can get, if we can exceed the goal, that will be great. And I did see, I saw some of the, like the sample of what the color is that you want to go with.
Yeah.
And the colors look amazing. I mean, not in the book yet, but the style.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so what I did was I use Fiverr because it's easier to have to go through all this back and forth. Because whenever you're dealing with talent, without a middleman, there's always a lot of back and forth, and I don't have time for all that. So what I did was I said, here's what I'm looking for, here's the budget, here's the timeline, and Fiverr, what it does, it promotes it, and then I got 48 portfolios, 48 bids on the project. So bids, and they bid up to the budget or lower those who are trying to get it. That made it easy for me because I can I narrowed it down to 3. And one of the things that I do that allows me is that a stipulation is that you have to color a page of Forbidden in order to be considered for me to make a decision on the project. If you want the project, that's the stipulation. And so the 3 are currently doing that. I give them 48 hours to do the page. and I'll make my decision, and then go with go with one of them. Makes it easy. Fiverr takes the money, puts it in escrow, whatever they hold it, until it's done, until I approve it and everything's good. I don't have to worry about going back and forth. They have to stick to the timelines. It makes it easier than me having to write a contract, all this other stuff. It's already done, and I'm protected. They're protected, and it works for everybody. So that's the reason why I went there.
Yeah, no, Fiverr sounds like it's been working very, very well. I mean, I think I've used it. I used it actually for a logo that I wanted designed, and the girl was fast.
She's done all my logos.
Yeah. So it's a good way. This is a good little
and that's what's even better
for them.
I used this one person for my branding multiple times because of the quality and the timeliness of her work. In fact, I have a short list of people that I would use for coloring projects or whatever. And through Fiverr, I'm a 5-star member of Fiverr because I pay on, everything's paid on time. Good ratings, really easy. I send them what I want. There's no back and forth. They ask the questions in the beginning. Most of them are so good at what they do. They're able to interpret what I'm asking because I'm very clear and thorough. This is what I'm looking for. This is the timeline, blah, blah, blah. Here are the references. This is the color palette. Boom. That's it. And we keep it moving. So I'm like, I can't wait to see what they come up with tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big day to make that decision.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing the book in full color. I may have to go back in there and touch up the lettering. Now that it's going to definitely be in color, because I think I had one page that was in black and white. Even the letters are black and white. So I have to drop some color in them. But other than that, dude, this thing is ready to rock. Once everything ends, once the like you mentioned earlier, once the campaign ends, the book gets colored, and then
that's it.
It's off to
as soon as as soon as the reason why I'm not sending anything to the printer is because I'm not sure exactly what the quantities that I'm going to need to print. So as soon as the campaign ends, I'm just going to hit send, and that's it. And we're good to go.
Yeah, no, that's it, man. That's it. That's what it's all about. Getting it all out there. So
I'm excited about that.
Definitely that. And then in crazy news, the Crazies, the book is back from the printer, and Sam and I are going to get together next week to put our Hancocks on it, and then Sam will be sending it out. So that's done. That's done. I think. Did we get anything in yet? I think we're waiting just for a sketch cover and the stickers.
Sketch cover hasn't arrived yet. Stickers arrived.
Oh, cool.
Sketch cover. I'm still waiting for that. They said it ships. I'm just waiting for it to arrive. I'll be bagging and boarding everything this weekend.
Bagging and boarding.
Getting everything, weighing everything based on who gets what.
Yeah.
Get everything ready. George will come over and sign everything.
That's right.
And then they'll get shipped out sometime next week. So
Perfect.
Hopefully I'll have it into the postal service's hands by next Tuesday or Wednesday.
There it is. And then it's off to all of you. Thank you, everybody who pledged to the campaign for the Crazies on Kickstarter.
Yep.
Get ready, because number 3 is going to be coming soon. April 29th is the date for the third one. So, check our social networks and check our websites, crazycomics.com, getyourmeds.com with a Z, for the launch page link, because the link is going to be on those websites. So you can click on it and then just hit follow, so that when it launches, you get that message that it's launched. And you want to be one of the first ones to pledge, because we do have a time-sensitive perk on the campaign, which you guys are going to love. So
I forgot what that was too.
Yeah, more to come on our live show in April. We'll break it down.
Yes, we're excited. Issue 3, things pop off. It gets crazier. So we're excited on where the Crazies are going. If you already got, All right, so every single one of you who backed us, thank you so much. We appreciate your support in making Catch the Crazies #2 successful. We'd love to get your feedback. You got the PDFs. I'd love to hear what you thought about issue 2. And I know some of you are probably just waiting for the physical copy. Like, I don't want to read anything electronic, but you got it. So let your boys know what you think. It means a lot to us. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. We have a cool cover for issue 3. It's gonna be dope. Can't wait to start promoting that. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think I should. I was like, oh man, I need a break because even at the end of this campaign with Forbidden, I gotta start thinking about the next campaign for Forbidden, and whether or not to keep it on Indiegogo or take it over to Kickstarter. So right now, we'll see what happens, how this ends.
Yeah, and for those watching, maybe when you come on to the live show, you can let us know what you think. Do you think that we should keep it in Indiegogo? Or do you think that it should go to Kickstarter? What do you guys prefer? What do you think? What's easier? Is it easier? I mean, if you pledge to both, we really appreciate it. And if you have pledged to any Indiegogo campaign and a Kickstarter campaign, let us know what the differences are and what you like and what don't like about either platform. I personally like Kickstarter better. I just think with the app, it just makes it a lot easier to pledge. I mean, I've backed so many campaigns on Kickstarter, it's not even funny.
Right.
But it's a little harder on Indiegogo because you actually have to go to their website. So, although I got a smartphone, phones are just easier to navigate through an app than an actual,
Yes.
Website. So, but yeah, let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know what you think. I was looking for that thing. I don't even know where it went. Or maybe I'll put it in the other one.
So a little more. I don't know what you're going to show us this, Sam. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about this Crit comic that we have coming up. The gentleman's name is Michael, and I can't get his last name now because I lost the page. But Crit looks like it's issues 0 through 3, and it's over 100 pages of content. So you guys want to get on here, check it out. It's on Indiegogo, and he's made his goal. He's got 17 days left though, and I don't know. We can ask him if there are going to be any stretch goals, but yeah, it looks pretty cool, man. Full color.
Yeah,
a lot of action in these pages. I like the artwork, and it says for fans of Beverly Hills Cop, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Bad Boys, The Expendables, My Hero Academia, Blank Man, Fast and the Furious, and Deadpool. That's an interesting mix.
It's a whole lot of fans.
It's a whole lot of
if
fans.
You like everything, I got you. Yeah, so so it looks good. He has how many days left to go?
17, I believe.
17. He's got it in the bank. Money in the bank.
17 days, yeah, so you're getting it. And he does have some stretch goals actually posted here. He's got a stretch goal for 25 backers, which is a mini poster for all backers, and a digital desktop background of the spread piece. So when you go onto Indiegogo, you can check out that piece and what it looks like. So it looks like, what has he got? He's got 36 backers. So that stretch goal has been unlocked. So 36 of us will be receiving that little pinup. So that's cool. Stretch goal number 2 for 35 backers, which it looks like he already he unlocked that one. A digital copy of a book called Burlap, issue number 1. So that's unlocked. And then if we get to 45 backers, or if he gets to 45 backers, digital copy of Crossbones, issue 1. So he's done the stretch goals based on number of backers versus monetary value, which
is pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty dope. Yeah. I was just showing on the screen the sketch that I'm working on for a pinup for Forbidden. This is basically David Hunter sending his creepers out. There's going to be more creepers in there with his flying beast. Mm-hmm. And so I can't wait to finish that piece. I started working on it today. Yeah. So it's cool stuff. So support your independent creators. We have a lot of them on Catch the Craze, and a lot more coming that have campaigns. So you have a lot to choose from, but this is everyone's passion, and we're hoping that you give some support.
Yeah, the market is thick, bro. There's so much talent out there.
Yes.
Christopher Michael. I'm sorry, I said Michael something. It's Christopher Michael,
yes,
the creator of this book,
yes.
Crit. Sammy, you were supposed to help me out, bro. You're supposed to be my wingman.
I told you Christopher Michael in the beginning.
Yeah, I forget sometimes.
Jeez,
I'm old, bro. I'm old.
I have Q-tips.
Brain's starting to go. Q-tips.
Yeah, to clean the wax, bro. Clean that wax.
I heard you. I just told you. I forgot.
I forgot.
It's a whole different ailment, dude. It's a whole different ailment.
Speaking of ailment, you ever wake up in the morning and then for I didn't even get to finish. So you ever wake up in the morning and you step on the floor for the first time and it feels like your ankle's broken, or like there's like this pain, like ooh, and then you're limping, like what the hell? It's like that's that old man syndrome. I'm like,
I
what?
Get up to a lot of cracking. Everything cracks as I walk. Like click, 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 click. Everything.
Man. All right, I'm gonna tell a story. This is embarrassing, and I know this is a Kickstarter Indiegogo show, but I gotta tell you. So I've been breaking night every night, right? So I've been here in the studio from usually about 11 a.m. because I work out in the morning, have breakfast, walk the dogs, all that stuff. By the time I'm done, from 8 in the morning to 11, I come in the studio at 11 o'clock. I don't leave till like midnight. I've been crashing on the couch. Yeah. Well, my Chihuahua was sleeping on the couch with me, and she ran away at 2 in the morning. And she's trying to go upstairs into the bedroom with my wife, and she's scratching at the door to let her in. I'm like, why?
What'd you do to her, dog?
I didn't do anything. She pooped all over my feet. She pooped and sprayed on my feet. I had fudge all over my toes, right? So I'm like, oh, you know what it is at 2 in the morning?
Literally.
So then I'm limping to the bathroom, and because my right foot is the one covered in it, and then I step and vomit on the other foot. I'm like, yo, this is horrible. I was like, yo. So one of my other dogs threw up in the kitchen. The lights are off, so I can't see. So now I'm up. I had to go upstairs to the shower, and I'm washing up. I'm like, then I had to take the sheets, and I had to go throw it at 2 in the morning. Now the lights are on. I'm changing the sheets. I'm changing. Yo, I was pissed. I was mad.
Did you dirty?
Did me dirty. I was like,
you're like Marv in Home Alone and shit.
I was like, I can smell it. I was like, what is this?
Wow.
Yes, that's my story. That's my life. That's what my life has come back. I was a corporate executive, and now I'm a brokepreneur with poop in my foot.
Stepping in it.
This is horrible.
Wow.
Yes.
That is a terrible story.
It's a horrible story.
Terrible. That is terrible.
Oh, wow. Man. I was wondering why she ran. I said, why is she scratching up there? Whatever. And I was like,
she poop and scoop.
I said, why do my feet feel funny?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Damn. Dude. That is terrible. Oh man. Wow. Where do we go from here? Holy shit.
I know. It's
wow. Wow, at this point, just go to commercial. I don't even know. Commercial? I have no idea. What do we do? Where are we going? Where are we going?
Let's show a trailer for Forbidden. Hold on. Welcome back to Cast the Craze, and we're back with our special guest, Christopher Michael, who's going to be talking about Crit, his campaign that's currently going. He's blowing away his goal. He's on some stretch goals, and so we'll talk all about that. But before we do, we want to get to know you. So welcome, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
Well, so who are you? What do you do?
Okay. Well, my name's Christopher Michael. I'm from North Carolina, and I draw and write Crit. It's based off of a homebrewed D&D game, so it's a little bit of a different writing style than what most people use. I have more of an organic storytelling where we don't we have plot points that we work towards and situations, but everything's dictated by how the dice roll. So once a month we get together, we play the game, I record it, and then I kind of transcribe that into storyboarding and then a comic book.
That's awesome, bro. I like that. I like that out of the box thinking of creating comics.
It wasn't a comic to begin with.
Yeah.
A bunch of my friends and I, we played D&D 10 years ago when I lived in Boone, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know Boone, there's not much to do except go to bars, snowboard during the seasons, and hang out inside. That's really the list of things we had to do. So I was introduced to D&D, and at first, I remember the first time they asked me if I wanted to play, and I was like, oh my God, no. I was like, I'm a nerd, but I'm not that big of a nerd. And it was funny because I was a DM at GameStop at that time. So I was like uber nerd. And we made our own Mass Effect game using the rules that were put in the book. And, we did that for like 2 years, I think, that I was there, moved away. And those guys have become some of my best friends, but we lost touch. So 10 years later, this was, I had been in between jobs for the first time in my life. I've been working since I was 13, and I was in between. My wife was like, hey, take a few months off and just do something you enjoy. And I got to thinking, and I was like, man, I really miss my friends. And so I reached out to him, and I was like, hey, I'm playing Spider-Man on PS4. It's a cool game. What if we turned like this style of storytelling into D&D, like where you get to see the characters grow into their powers? And the original idea was if you watch Superman from his first itineration to now, you get to see this big like character arc from start to finish. If you jump in now, you're like, oh wow, this guy's super OP. But if you got in early, you saw him jumping instead of flying, and like just the slight powers he had. And that was what I wanted to do, was let these guys grow into their powers. And we just started playing, and I'll tell you what, it was awesome. I mean, just seeing all my friends back together after 10 years, and then how they played the game. And at first it was tough because I had to make everything. They didn't have a campaign that matched what we wanted. So I've got about 400 hours into just creating the characters themselves, their powers, how they work, the universe, how it works, and how it reacts to them. So, and if you play Dungeons and Dragons, there's like a set of rules you have to play by. So it's not like, I want this to happen, so it's going to happen. This would sound cool if it could happen, but can it happen? And so my friends and I sat down, made the rules, and it was just so much fun that I wanted to draw it. And like I didn't really draw comic books, but I just really wanted to. And so I started this like task of learning how to draw comics. I didn't know how to do it. My wife's a phenomenal artist, so she helped me, more like critiqued me and told me I was terrible for a while. And then I got to a point where people liked what I was doing. And so I was like, well, hey, I'm doing these like little pages and this little thing. So how about I take it and turn it into a book? And so I started doing that. And it just seemed like more and more people were interested in the story that we were telling, which was awesome because all the characters that you read on the page are real life people. So like their names are their names in real life, because I said, hey, what's easier to role play? This character you've got to make up in your head and pretend to be, or let's just be yourself. You wake up tomorrow and you have superpowers. What do you do? And so it's very organic. It's very real. The conversations really happen. I don't change much to fit the story. We've kind of retconned a few things because we've changed a couple things. We're on I think we've been playing for 3 years. So if we introduce something, we kind of have to fix it down the line. But what you read really has transpired on a table. So it's like tabletop to paper. And I think that's really cool. People get to experience in a different way, because in Dungeons and Dragons, as a dungeon master, my goal is to defeat my players. Yes, create a nice, fun game for them to play, but you want it to be challenging. Whereas in most comic books, especially in the independent realm, the characters are overpowered and just my character is the best. It's almost like on the playground at school. It's like my dad can beat your dad. I've been part of so many conversations where like, oh man, my character could totally beat yours. And I'm like, probably, because I think my guys are like level 8 right now, and like they're meant to be beaten.
Right.
I love the flaws that the characters have, and I think that's what kind of makes us unique in our own way. Is any book you can pick it up and read it, and you see them struggle to win because I'm trying to make it hard, and it's just cool. And my guys really enjoy seeing everybody like their character, or like I've had a few people ask if they could cosplay and do these things, and it's like, oh man, that's my
awesome.
Dude.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
For me.
That's cool, man. So how many friends, like how many characters is the game?
Right now, I've got 5 main characters, and I've got a cat, which is like he's like my DM character. But it was funny because Austin, the guy who plays Spectre, is allergic to cats, and he made me mad one day and wanted to like this kind of power, and I was like, screw it, you're tied to a cat now, and if you're around him for more than 4 hours, you're at disadvantage because you're allergic to him. And so that it was fun because it gave another aspect to it. And then so I've got 5 of my friends, and the characters that you kind of see come in and out are based off of other people in my life. So even the enemies are based off of, remember, we worked retail together, so they're based off of people that would come into our store, or people we worked with that would just annoy the crap out of us. And so now I make enemies based off of them to like hinder them even in the game.
Oh man, you're funny. So what does CRIT stand for? I see it's an acronym. So what does CRIT stand for?
Covert Infiltration Reconnaissance Team. There was really no thought behind the actual like crit, and I was like, hey, what fits crit that sounds really cool? So if you're gonna ask me if they're really like, it sounds super tactical and all this other stuff, but really they're a bunch of fun dudes that just dive right into combat. But I had to have some kind of acronym for the game to like make sense. And so it's funny because people get it wrong all the time, and I just don't care. Just call them crit.
No, that's awesome, man.
So who designed the branding, the logo?
So on the first book, a friend of mine who actually taught me how to use Procreate had started coloring, and he had 2 babies. He had twins, and then COVID hit, and he had to back away from the project. And when I got to issue 2, he wanted to do something, but he couldn't take on a lot. So I said, hey, he's a tattoo artist and just loves to draw all day. And I'm like, I'm really trying to do some logo work. I've seen you do logos. See if you can come up with something. And he came up with this, and I fell in love with it. He sent me a few different itinerations, and I was like, no, this is good. The red and gold is what we're going to go with. And Drew, he's been a really good friend of mine, and he's been a supporter since I couldn't really draw that well. So it was good to have him still be part of our creation process, even if he couldn't color and do those things.
Yeah. So you have all of the drawing duties on the book. That's you. All of the artwork is you.
Yeah. In fact, up until I jumped on here, that's what I was doing. I work 2 jobs, and I do this, and I also letter another book. So my life right now is very hectic, especially with the Indiegogo running at the same time.
Yeah. Tell us about it, man. We got one on right now, you know what I mean, that we're trying to get funded, and it's a full-time job. So I totally hear you. Let's talk a little bit about the Indiegogo. Tell us about why Indiegogo versus Kickstarter, and if you've ever done any Kickstarter campaigns. Is this your first campaign? How have you done?
So this is my 3rd campaign. My first one was a Kickstarter. I had no clue what Kickstarter was. A buddy of mine, actually the guy who plays Spectre, was like, hey, you should just do a Kickstarter and raise some funds, because that's what people do. That was essentially the conversation. It was like, people go on there, they get funded, you have a good idea, you just have to present the idea, and then people get interested. I didn't know the marketing aspect of it or any other piece to the puzzle. I just knew, put it on Kickstarter. It was one of those Wayne's World things, and if you make it, they will come kind of deal.
Right.
Clearly that was wrong, and all the research I did on it was wrong, and I think we had like $500. 30 people, I think, backed it, which was cool because I didn't do any marketing. I didn't do anything special for it. I made an Instagram like a month before I launched the campaign, And yeah, we didn't fund. I had a goal of $1,500 for some odd reason, because that's what market research told me I should do. When really I could have funded it at about $500 or $600.
Right.
So that one fell on its face. But what I did was I had a friend of mine who's independently wealthy, and he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've known you for a long time. Anything you do is going to be successful. I'm going to help you out. What do you need to get this thing off the ground?" And I told him. So we were on Facebook just chatting. He goes, "I'm on my private jet right now, and I don't need this money. You do, so
That's
here you go." And yeah, like there's money in my account.
Nice.
And so I reached out to all the backers from the Kickstarter, even after it failed, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to send you a free book." And so I sent it all to them. In the package, I just said, shout out the Instagram, shout out the Facebook, and if you can post a picture, that way I can get some free marketing out of the deal. And it worked. I launched the next Kickstarter like 6 months later on a goal of $500. We made 2,000. We had 56 backers, and that was great. When book 2 triple funded, almost quadruple funded, I said to all the backers, "You know what? Because you're making this possible and we're overfunding by so far, I'm going to go ahead and everybody gets issue 3 for the cost of shipping."
Nice.
So one thing about me is I am, comic books are fun. I know, a lot of creators are trying to make money off of it. I'm more or less trying to grow the brand.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do this, "Hey, I got so much money that I didn't need. Now I'm going to come back to you next issue and ask for it again." I said, "Hey, all of my Kickstarter backers get it for free." And we have essentially, though, on issue 3, there are 2 covers. So if they want the second cover, they can add it for $5,
right.
if you want the whole thing. But in the process of it, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, I'm going to do an issue for you." So when I first started this idea, I had this very terrible issue 0 that I created. I say it's terrible. People will argue with me, but it wasn't up to par with what I'm doing now. And so I shelved it, and he saw it and he said, "Hey, I want to redo this from scratch." I had helped him out, getting some stuff. And so in return, he wanted to help me out. And so I was like, "Hey, I could do an Indiegogo with all 4 of our books, 0, 1, 2, and 3. I've only done a Kickstarter for 1 of them. And I know that people on Kickstarter are going to get issue 3 for free, but this gives them the opportunity to go in and get issue 0, and they're going to be able to get the second issue of issue 3, the other cover." Or we also redid issue 1 a little bit. We relettered it and did some things with it. And so I thought, hey, I'm going to offer this at a discounted price now, because all the books are funded and done. I don't have to fund this, but it's a good way to get a second audience, essentially. Sure. Because I know Kickstarter and Indiegogo have 2 separate audiences. And so, I didn't know what to expect. Talked to a lot of people. Everyone said that a lot of creators go from Kickstarter to Indiegogo and just put their stuff on there to gain a different crowd.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bleed my audience dry or anything like that. I really just wanted to get another group and see what kind of backers were on Indiegogo. It was more of an experiment.
Right.
And also at the same time, I really felt that if a team, even though I had helped my friend out, I really felt that, if he's going to make 18 pages of work, that he deserves something. So I was like, hey, if I fund at 500, is 500 enough? And he was like, that's more than enough. You've done so much for me, that's fine.
That's awesome.
And so we're sitting right now, 35 backers. We're on our second stretch goal. Everybody gets a free issue of Burlap #1 in digital. They're getting a free poster. And so as of right now, you're getting anywhere from 3 books to 5 books for free, when we unlock it, which is really cool. I think we've got a really good campaign going. We're almost 3 times funded right now. I think $1,200 on a $500 goal.
Yeah.
So it's been really good. And I'm trying to use this also to gain traction for when we go with issue 4, because I've got some really good artists on covers there. I'm going to do Kickstarter for issue 4, like late April. And I've got an image artist on there. I've reached out to a couple Marvel artists. Got some good names on that one because I did find an image artist I really liked who worked on Spawn, and I'm a huge Spawn fan. So I was like, man,
are you ready for June?
For some reason, I'm not getting audio.
Oh,
I don't know. Let me.
okay.
Turn audio off. Hold on 1 second. I don't know why. Let's see. Speakers. Try now.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I don't know what happened.
All right, cool. Yeah. No,
you moving, but nothing was coming out.
No, you were saying you're a big Spawn fan. I was wondering if you were ready for June, because I know he's got a lot of stuff coming out in June, man.
Oh, well, the big thing that I'm excited for is actually not even a new book. You know, I know he's got a lot of stuff coming out. I'm really excited. I think it's awesome to see him actually create a universe out of this, because it's been a long time that it needed to happen. There's so many good characters that I was like, you know, it's cool to keep them all consolidated in one book, but I would love to see some of them come to life.
Yeah.
But they redid issue 10 and put it on Kickstarter. And as a kid, I actually have 1 through 29 or 30. I have to look at my wall, but I have all first prints. I traveled the country with my dad to collect all of the first prints of those books. And so when they redid issue 10, I was like, you know, this is almost like to me getting that revisioning of an issue that I actually really enjoy too. And so I'm really excited to get that. You know, I would get action figures and stuff that they keep launching. But if I move this camera up, I have shelves of just stuff. And so my wife would kill me. I can deal with books and things, but you know, when we just bought this house this year, and we put all of my stuff into the room that's here now, and I walked into the bedroom one day and I was like, hey, listen, I think I need to consolidate. She was like, oh my God, my heart be still. And so yeah, I'm kind of holding off on trying to I love the action figures and all that stuff, but I just don't have the room.
And how many series did you collect in the Spawn?
So I never got out of the main line. I have the Spawn, Youngblood, Wetworks, the original Image stuff. When Image launched, that was right around the time that I really got into collecting comic books. I was about 10 years old, and I met Todd and I met Jim Lee, and I met those guys at Comic-Con. I went out to San Diego, and I got to meet them over the course of 2 different summers. And I always wanted to be in comics. I used to draw. I had this character when I was like 11 years old called The Head. He just skateboarded around, and he had a friend named Kim, who her superhero name was Kim Burnley because she had fireballs.
Right.
But I was like 11, and I think it literally was like 2 high school kids, and one of them could throw fireballs, and the other one just had a giant head and was on a skateboard. And that I was like, hey, you know, one day I'm going to do a comic book. And I remember the first time I tried to draw Wolverine, it was terrible. And I tried a few times to draw, and I was one of these people where I still am. If I can't do it right, then I'm not going to try. You know, I was like, all right, well, I'm not made for drawing. I can't play guitar. So I did that. I toured for like 6 years. I had worldwide record releases. Like we were distributed by Sony.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so that's what I did. All my creative energy went into playing music, and then you know, if you're ever in a band, you realize that you have 4 girlfriends at all times, and it's terrible because you're always fighting with somebody. And I got out of that in like 2008. And I didn't do anything creative after that. I just started working out all the time. That was like my new creative thing, was just working out. And then that got boring. I got married and we had COVID, so I just started drawing all the time. And now it's like, it's taken on its own life. I mean, I'm lettering books and I'm working with other creators. We actually just signed a retail deal. And
nice.
Yeah, like I have a passion to help people. So when I started, you know, creating Homebrewed, the goal wasn't just to get myself, you know, like fans of the book and everything. First, it was just getting my friends' characters into people's hands, because I don't have a character, you know, this is them.
Mhm.
And it's really cool to see them enjoy it, especially when a couple of them have kids.
Yeah.
And the guy that plays Boulder in my book, he was ranked 11th in the nation for wrestling in college. He was a top pick. He was an Olympic class wrestler. And 15 years later, he's got 2 kids, and he's working, and he's like, Chris, I don't have a superhero body anymore. And he gave his daughter the book, and she was like, that's not you, Daddy. And so now he lost like 30 pounds, and I'm really proud of it. He's worked really hard, and he texted me one day. He's like, yeah, so I look like Boulder now. And I had helped him. I did compete with like bodybuilding and stuff for a few years, so I know like diet and everything, and I had helped him get there. And I'm just really proud of him. I thought it was really cool to see him motivated to be his superhero persona, and just watching these guys get the recognition for being creative, I think is cool. And
awesome.
in the process, I met other creators, and I found a lot of people they could create, they could write, they could make these great stories, but they didn't know where to go outside of their circle,
Mm-hmm.
And so I've kind of made it my personal mission to help my friends that I've made like get out and get noticed and finalize their dreams. Like a lot of these guys have characters that have been around for like 30 years. And I'm over here like, I've been doing this for 2 years, given I'm basing it off characters that are 30 and 40 years old. But, I don't have that same level of, I haven't been sitting on a character since I was 5 years old, So I really want to take these guys and help them get out. I have a lot of, on my work side, I actually have a lot of contacts on retail and comic books. I distribute 2 comic book and hobby stores. So I've been trying to grow my comic book side into my work life. Then I can work and have fun at the same time.
That's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
The question that we asked first tells a little bit about Christopher. Kind of came to fruition in this answer right here. You have so much stuff going on. You were in a band. Now you're doing this. So what? So now what's next for? Is it Homebrewed Comics? Tell us a little bit about Homebrewed Comics. What?
Homebrewed. So we're Homebrewed Heroes. The comic section is Crit. I also have another creator, our cover artist, Mo Luzbin, has a project in the works that he's been working on for a long time. We're about to announce more on that later this year. But we also want to release the game that Crit is based off of, because like Dungeons and Dragons, you have different modules. And if you go to Kickstarter and type in D&D, there are so many 5th edition modules that you can get behind. But we're the first to. There have been superheroes, but nothing like what we've done. I've really simplified a lot of the character building to make it very easy to say, I want to be this character archetype, and here's my path. I don't have to go through 5 books to figure out what spells and stuff I use. I've made it very simple. Which is awkward because 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is very simple to begin with, but I made it very accessible. And the reason that we've been working really hard to make it accessible is because your average comic book goer doesn't also play D&D. Yes, you do have some that go between both, right, but most people I know haven't played or don't play D&D. And so I was like, I really want it to be accessible. So I think right now, with the way the comic book has kind of grown, we've pushed that off for about a year. Maybe late this year, next year, we should be able to do something with it. But I know with issue 4, we're going to also be releasing a demo version of the game with it on Kickstarter. So that way the people interested in maybe creating their own version of Boulder or their own version of Caliber can do so. And the interesting part that we want to be able to do with this whole, game and comic book thing is for people to be able to eventually submit maybe their character creation into Crit. I do it now via Instagram, where every book I have NPC characters that Crit either meets or they fight, and when it came time to do like Kickstarters and books, I was like, well, it'd be kind of cool to allow people to send me their character descriptions. I base it on D&D, and what I do is I set up a table in here, and I set up an Instagram Live, and I let them roll the die to see who wins the contest. So there isn't favoritism, there isn't anything like that. It is literally all done by the roll of the die, and then the winner gets their character in the book. I draw it. You know, we had one on issue 3 where a guy submitted a dog. It was a teleporting dog, and it won, which I'm really excited about because when we put him in the book, you know, this is where the storytelling aspect, I guess, changes some of the game stuff. I said to the guys, I was like, hey, a dog won, not a human. So if it was a human character, we can beat him up and they can be gone. I really don't want this dog to go away. And they fell in love with the dog. It was just this instant, like, okay, cool. We have a cat, now we have a dog. And the dog's going to stick around. Like, he's going to teleport out, and he's just going to randomly show up and antagonize this cat. Like, that's his role in the universe now, is to antagonize our cat, Samedi. And so we have a couple points in the story where is outside, and we're planning on the dog just kind of sitting there for a second, and you see the cat get really upset, and then the dog's gone. So he plays like a bigger role. And I contacted the guy who made him, and I was like, you've officially created a character now that's like canonical in our universe and is going to continue on as this like antagonizer of the cat. And he loved it. Nice. And I was like, that's something a lot of other creators, you can add their character in, but knowing that you created it and then you won the game to be able to get your character in, I think it's very rewarding.
That's pretty hot. I mean, I like the way you're getting the participation and the buy-in and the engagement, because I think when the community feels like they're part of something, it tends to spread and grow. So I think you have your finger on the pulse. That's pretty cool.
As a member of the community as well, I feel the same way. Yeah. If I can get engaged or involved and like feel like I have a piece of that, it just gives me so much more ownership. And like, you know, now Crit belongs to more than just my team. You know, like when a person can say, oh, that's my character in the Crit book, right? That's mine. You know, that's me, that's mine, that's that. And to me, that's also what D&D is about, you know, being able to create your character and watch them come to life and do these things are why we play Dungeons and Dragons. It's all about escapism and being able to create and get that itch out. You know, I think a lot of people have this creative itch, just don't know how to get it out or what to do with it. And so I'm trying to give them this outlet. Like, you might not want to write a book, but you might have this cool character. Mm-hmm. So here's your opportunity to try and get him in a book, you know, and I clearly credit everybody and, you know, make sure that everyone gets their reward. But the best feedback I've gotten is like, hey, it's really cool that I can pick up a book and that's my dog, you know, like when I finished drawing the dog, I sent it to him and I was like, so your dog attacks, he attacks Austin and the cat's attacking the dog and it's this big old tussle and he goes, oh my God, that's so awesome. You know? And I was like, you've officially scarred Spectre. He has a dog bite on his arm now and he's afraid of dogs because of your dog. So he's made a bigger impact on the universe than he thought he would.
That's pretty hot. That's pretty hot. So how can people reach you? Where can they find you? What are your social media handles? So
on Instagram, it's at Homebrewed Comics. And on Facebook, it's at Homebrewed Comics, but instead of CS, it's X. We also have a website, homebrewedcomics.com, and they all kind of tie together. I have the Instagram linked to the website, so if you don't have Instagram, you can still go there and scroll and see the feed and the artwork and things. I'm trying to grow Facebook, but what I found is with creators, you either have a very strong Facebook presence and a very minimal Instagram presence, or vice versa, strong Instagram, minimal Facebook. Right. I'm kind of the minimal Facebook. Most of my Facebook followers are like my friends and family, and I think we're at like 300 or 400 on there. I've been trying to grow it, but Instagram grew a lot faster, so I've been feeding that machine a little bit more. So yeah, you can find us on all three of those. I don't do Twitter. I don't do the TikTok thing or that stuff. I'm told I need to, but
yeah, no, right? Oh man! But for everybody watching, the book is Crit, and it's on Indiegogo right now. Christopher, this is wonderful, man. You're at 36 backers right now, $1,200, and you have 17 days left. So everybody get out there, go to Indiegogo, search Crit, CRIT, and support. And definitely, I can't wait. I mean, you got a supporter in me, man. I'm gonna go ahead and pledge when we get off, and I can't wait to read this book. Now, that issue 0, are we ever gonna see the one you did?
So if we get 60 backers on this campaign,
Okay.
I'm going to do a one-time only printing.
Okay.
So
Nice.
digital backers will get a digital copy, and physical backers will get a digital and a physical copy.
Nice.
And
All right, cool.
that will be it. I'm not changing anything about it. I'm going to print it as is, so you can see where Crit came from. It's a bit different than anything I do now. I actually drew out the die rolls, so you get to see when they roll in that 20 or whatever they were rolling at the time. Because I had recorded it, I put the roll on there so you can kind of see it. I've gotten away from that because the feedback I got was that it kind of alienates people that don't know Dungeons and Dragons.
Mhm.
And so I didn't want to alienate anybody. What we're doing now is more subtly hinting some of the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, so it's not overwhelming or too cheesy.
Right.
But yeah, you'll see my original drawings done on a Samsung tablet that was actually for work that
That's
Nice.
awesome, Chris. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Hey, listen, man, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your project. I love it. I think you're doing a great thing. I love the way you're thinking about branding outside of just comics. I love all of that. So congratulations and good luck with everything, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you so much,
got it.
guys.
All right.
Yeah, no problem, man.
And that was Crit. And
Great.
pretty cool. I mean, again, he's looking at all facets of his game and branding. Let's see.
I love it. I love the he took a situation where it seemed like he failed and he turned it
Right.
on its side, right? He didn't get that one funded. He went sent stuff out to the subscribers, gave them a free book, and all of a sudden on the next one he successfully funded it almost 3 times as much. So
Yes.
talk about paying it forward, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
Nice story. Love it.
Yeah, you're doing your thing. You're doing your thing. So check it out. The link is in the summary below. Head over to Indiegogo. Give Chris some love. And if you like to be a sponsor of Cast the Craze and you want to promote your Indiegogo, your Kickstarter, your bar mitzvah, your whatever you're doing, your coming out party, sponsor an episode of Cast the Craze. It's as simple as you create a 30-second video or audio, send it to us. The fees are low, real low. Just look at the card above, and we can make it happen. With that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting our indie community. I'm Sam, the Crazy Man Vera.
George the Dreamer Medina.
And we are